School's out for the summer, so let's let the summer fun begin. And that is exactly what is happening here in real estate. Now, I know this is going to be your market update. We're going to talk about prices and interest rates and projections here in just a bit. But I want to encourage you, if you're reading this newsletter or you're watching this on YouTube, make sure that you are going to Amber Dawson's video here on this as well, because she's going to talk. She's one of our buyer's agents here at Ritchie Realty, but she's also going to walk you through where you can still find great deals and opportunities and how to go about that, even in today's market. As a matter of fact, we just locked one of our buyers in at a 4.25 interest rate, where they're normally over 7% right now. Unheard of, right? Well, there's still opportunities out there, and we want to partner up with you and show you how to make those opportunities happen for you. Now, so that being said, let me go ahead and get to my screen and start to share. Still a lot of talk, still a lot of even our clients, people we're talking to in the industry saying they're going to hold off for interest rates to come down. So a lot of people still, and I see it even on my social media outlets, the market's going to crash. We're in a bubble. We're waiting out and holding out for those opportunities. So really want to go back in and share. Let me share my screen here so we can take a look at the hard data on what is happening and have some projections, more educated projections, if you could, on where we're headed to. So this is the median home prices for Tarrant County only. In the past, if you followed me in the past months, we've looked at really the whole Metroplex, but I really wanted to focus this month on Tarrant County. So we saw back in January of last year where the median sales prices were at about 307.5. We saw those come up, saw those come down. We've gone into detail in past videos about that. Now we're having around a median sales price of 315. Well, that is how we ended May. And what we had seen over the last few months is multiple offers, an incline in prices, a shortage of inventory, which has been which put pressure on those home prices. So really wanted to do some projections, if you would, now that we're almost through the half of the year, on what can we expect and where are we going to be at in June. So we don't have the hard actual data yet, but looking at what is pending and what is under contract, what those median sales prices are going to look like is going to be somewhere around 350 on the upward side. We just don't know what the actual data is until they close out. But that's a significant increase and also shows that rising trend, if you would, on what we have been seeing and feeling with home prices. Now, part of that, again, like I mentioned to you, part of that has been with the shortage of inventory that we have continued to see here in the whole Metroplex and really across the whole region and into the U.S. We've seen that on a grander scale. So what we have been hovering around back in January of last year, we were at 2 months supply of inventory. We dropped during that big spike that we had last year. We saw the inventory drop below 1 month supply of inventory. We did, as we saw the market interest rates go up and the market start to change over the fall. Guess what? We saw 3 months supply of inventory and prices coming down, but now we're back at 2 months supply of inventory. If you've been following me along, you know that that is still a very strong seller's market. So as long as we are holding inventory to 2 months supply, or even 3 months supply, we're going to continue to see pressure on those prices until we get to about 6 months supply of inventory. So my projection in June, continuing this rate as far as we are in that low inventory, we should this should hold tight for June as far as our sales prices. Now, let's talk a little bit about, because we can't ignore the elephant in the room, if you would, and that's the interest rates. We saw the very beginning of the year. Last year, we were 3% interest rates. We saw them double by this time last year. And then we saw them even go up on an incline, which put a lot of fear and understandably in buyers' eyes on, is this a good time to purchase? So we saw home prices kind of start start to fall during those, as you can see, as the interest rates went up. So here's just a little chart I want to show you is the demand of buyers based upon the interest rates. You might have seen this in the past. And I want to go back to it because now we are back in to over 7% interest rates right now, creating what is considered a weak buyer demand. There's still demand out there, just a little bit weaker than what we were when we were in the lower sixes earlier on, which is still a good demand. So there are some predictions that interest rates will come back down. I know that if you've been following along, and I even said at the beginning of the year, we're going to have a rocky road this year in real estate until the Feds get a tame on inflation. And we're going to continue to see that. There is some talk again about those rates coming down, which will continue to push us back into a good demand for our buyers. So right now, I'm not in a worry about it because the talk is that could happen pretty soon. Nonetheless, I have seen that as we pushed over the last few weeks, over 7% interest rates, how it has had an impact with a lot of the buyers that we're working with. And as you can see, this is back again when we were talking about January 2022, how those rates have continued to rise. We saw them kind of plateau, stabilize a bit, since December. And now we're seeing them push back up. When we saw them push up over that 7% mark, as you can see, that's when we started to see those prices come down. So, I want to say, and I think part of the reason we've seen those prices stabilize, even though interest rates have been higher than what people are used to them being over the last 10 years, I think it's because buyers have kind of prepared themselves and have gotten used to this might be the new norm for some while. And if I want to get into the business of owning a home, then I'm going to have to wrap my brain around this and make some adjustments. And so we've continued to see that. So it's going to be interesting to see what the perception is with buyers today and if that's going to continue to hold. Or will us pushing over 7% have an effect on values and on buyer demand based upon the interest rates? Now, I know that there's been a lot of talk about recession, and I want to kind of end with this because there are a lot of predictions that we will be headed towards another recession towards the end of the year. So let's talk about that and how it affects prices as well, because I know what I get asked a lot, or what I'm hearing, is that as we enter this recession, it's going to make prices drop even 20%. That's what the headlines say. But let's look at the reality of what has happened since 1980 when we have been in recessions. And we can see of the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 recessions, right? 2020 was like a little tiny recession right during COVID. But we can see that only 2 times did we see prices come down, and that was in 1991, and it's just a slight little downward movement on prices, but the biggest one in 2008, and that's because the recession in 2008 was a complete different type of recession than that was caused by the housing industry and mortgages being approved that shouldn't have been approved, but all those things have been tightened up in the housing industry so that we can avoid having something significant like this happen again. So my point is that even if we are headed to a recession, I don't know that we're going, the information that we have is that over the past so many recessions, we've only seen 2 of them really be affected, home prices be affected by those. So I still think that we're going to be, based upon what we're looking at right now, I really think we're going to continue to be steady. I don't expect, I'm thinking prices are going to do what they've been, always done, up and down, slightly, as interest rates and everything else adjust. But I think we're still going to come out ahead of the game unless something just catastrophic happens. And we don't want that to happen. Now, I want you to tune in to another video we're going to be doing here in the next week or two, because there has been a lot of questions about foreclosures and those kinds of things. So I really want to go into a little bit about that and answer some questions about the foreclosure market in one of our next videos. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this today. It helps you understand what's happening in the market and to make plans. If you've got any questions, always reach out to us, comment below. We'll answer those questions, or just hit us up on the bat line, and let's just have a sit down cup of coffee and chat about things. Until next time, I'm Callie Ritchie, the broker and owner over at Ritchie Realty, and stay safe and have a happy, fun, and hopefully go to the beach, go do something great, right? Enjoy what's going on. But until next time, we'll stay safe. I can't even talk now. And we'll see you then.